In this video, I will show you how easy it is to install and operate a Tactic FPV system into an airplane. I chose the Great Plains Twinstar EP because I can mount the camera in the nose cone and I won't have any propeller interference. The first thing you need to do when installing an FPV system is to determine where you will mount the camera and transmitter. My camera placement is already chosen to be in the nose. The transmitter should be mounted away from all the other electronic components in the plane and must also be exposed to cool air. The transmitter will be installed against the cool air exit slots behind the wing saddle. I will need to make some extension cables to connect the transmitter to the camera and to my flight battery. Measure the approximate distance between the transmitter mounting position and the camera and flight battery. The extension cables need to span these lengths. Futaba makes a DSC cord which has the right connectors and is close in length to what I need, so I will just use that to connect the camera to the FPV transmitter. This application also requires a Y harness to provide power to the camera. I will power the FPV system from the balance connector on the flight battery. To do this, I had to find an adapter that matches the balance connector on the battery, and a servo extension long enough to reach from the battery to the FPV transmitter. If you can't source an adapter to match your battery, you can connect to the flight battery in any other way you see fit. Let's begin by soldering the balance adapter to a servo extension. Clip the connector as shown from the extension and strip the insulation from the exposed ends of the red and black wire. The white wire won't be needed, so it can be removed from the extension. Slide a piece of heat shrink tubing onto each wire and solder them to the two outside pins of the adapter. Be sure the red wire on the extension matches the position of the outer red wire on the battery balance lead. Put a piece of heat shrink tubing over the exposed pins on the adapter. The wire harness included with the transmitter has black, white, yellow, black, and red wires. The two black wires are both ground, and I only need one, so I will remove the other. Yellow is video, red is positive, and white is audio. Since our camera doesn't have audio, I will move the white wire to where the red is to simplify our connections. Use a hobby knife to carefully pry up the tabs on the adapter that secure the red and black adjacent wires. Pull those wires out of the adapter. Pry up the tab on the white wire and move the white wire to where the red wire was connected. The white wire will now act as the positive lead, and I have removed one connector from the setup. I purchased the optional Cloverleaf antenna for the best signal strength. I will be mounting the top of the antenna to the underside of the fuselage, so I will need to drill a hole large enough for the antenna coupler. I also need to open up the aft cooling slot to give us room to fit the transmitter into the fuselage. Cut carefully, as you may want to glue this piece back into place when you're all finished. Switch the positions of the red and white wires on your Y harness. Connect the wire harness to the transmitter, then the Y harness, and then the two extensions. Feed the extensions through the cooling slot and through the fuselage to the front of the plane. As you can see, I decided to shorten the extensions so I didn't have as much excess wire. A piece of double-sided foam tape will hold the transmitter in place while I finish securing it. Position the transmitter so the channel switches remain exposed. Bend the stalk of the antenna as shown. Insert the antenna stalk through the hole you made in the fuselage and thread it onto the transmitter. I'll use Kevlar line to better secure the transmitter to the wood between the cooling slots because the heat from the transmitter may cause the adhesive on the foam tape to fail. Apply a few dots of hot glue onto the fuselage and hold the antenna down until the glue cools. I glued the piece of wood I removed back into place with thin CA. Now, moving on to the camera, I will need to make a hole in the nose cone that matches the diameter of the camera lens. From a scrap piece of balsa, I made a mounting plate to support the camera in the nose cone. Apply a dot of hot glue to each corner to attach it to the camera. Hot glue isn't recommended inside the nose cone as it may melt the ABS. For this step, I recommend RTV silicone to glue the mount inside the nose cone. When satisfied with the fit, set it aside to dry. When the silicone is dry, tape or screw the nose cone into place on the fuselage. Secure the extension wires to the inside of the fuselage opposite the receiver. I used a few dots of hot glue to do this. Plug your battery into the extension cable and test the FPV system.